Andy Liu, we're back. Welcome to Light Years. Recording this after the All-Star game. You know what, man? I'm not an All-Star guy per se. But that might have been the worst All-Star weekend I've ever seen. I'm going with our friend of the show, Andrew Bogut here. Dude, just unwatchable is my main take of the weekend. You know what I thought? You were missing Steph Curry more than anything. Like, you can feel the lack of showmanship when you're watching this all weekend.
I have a lot of takes. I don't really know where to start, so I hope we spend a good 5-10 minutes on this. I feel bad shitting on the product because this is the sport that we cover, and basketball is my favorite sport, Sam, and I'm
sure.
Pretty sure that's your favorite sport too. So
top 10 for sure.
yeah, top 10 favorite. I love basketball. I love it at all levels, and I sit here and I watch the skills challenge like I did last night, and I'm just like, it feels like a disservice to fans because I think All-Star Weekend is supposed to bring all fans together, not just hardcore fans. And what this type of weekend felt like was just meant for the hardcore fans. And that's not what All-Star Weekend feels like it should be about. It should be about bringing in Risa, right? Like bringing in just random people that don't normally watch basketball, but they sit around the TV on February. Football's over. It's the first weekend after football's over. There's nothing on TV. The only thing is it's XFL. So it's just the NBA. And I feel like when that happens, everybody should be watching it. And instead, last night and tonight, it feels like, who cares? The only people are just me and you. And I spent half the game watching The Last of Us. I watched the first quarter and I watched the last part because I wanted to see who wins. That was it. And that's just not where basketball should be.
I have I'm glad you brought up last night because the thing that's always most disappointing to me is the dunk contest. And I'm trying to think of why I care so much, but it's like, look, Dame won the 3-point contest. Steph wasn't going to do it because he's hurt. Clay didn't get invited to All-Star Week. He's not going to do it. But those guys have done the 3-point contest a half dozen times, And the reason that stuff resonates is because, when you're watching the 3-point contest, it's generally the guys who are the best shooters you watch in game, right? You don't always get the 5 or 6 best every year. Some years you do, but Buddy Hield, he's a shooter. Jason Tatum, he's a shooter. Kevin Huerter having a phenomenal year. I bet on him. He promptly had one of the worst 3-point shooting performances.
You made a mistake on betting on a new guy. These new guys get rattled. You made that mistake.
It can go either way.
It fucks
and I took my chances. And that was a bad call on my part. But the point is, it was a list of guys who legitimately hit 5 threes, 6 threes on the regular in actual NBA games. So when I think of the best dunkers, who do you think of? I think of Zion. I think of Ja.
Mm-hmm.
If it was 10 years earlier, I think of LeBron, Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose, those type of guys. The problem is the dunk contest, you're sending guys who don't even play in NBA games. Literally, Mac McClung's not an NBA player. Although if it was up to me, he'd be on a roster. But
Jericho Sims.
Trey Murphy. I didn't even know he was that kind of a dunker because I know him as a 3-and-D guy. I thought he'd be in the 3-point contest.
Yes. Same.
And that's just kind of where it's when you watch the 3-point contest, you're getting a handful of the best in-game shooters you ever see. Or think about baseball, home run derby. Every hitter who matters in terms of power hitting has done the derby. Shohei, Judge won it before. Juan Soto's won. Acuna, just all the guys you in your mind when you think of bomb.
Well, Julio Rodriguez is Ja Morant of baseball, but
sure,
superstar.
Yeah, exactly. Up and coming. Right. I would not be surprised if he led the league in homers in 2 years, right? Basically everyone who matters does it. And it used to be that way with the dunk contest too. And then Andy's favorite player, the GOAT, came along. No, but you know what I'm saying? I don't care if KJ Martin is a phenomenal dunker. We're there to watch the guys who put on a show in game do it.
All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
literally is the name of the weekend. Kenyon Martin is probably a better guy that people know out there than KJ Martin. What are we doing here? And so, okay, hold on. So let's dunk contest real quick. And so someone in the
This is
comments,
actually a really good comment from Sim. They don't respect it. Why should they? It's enough star power doing it. Imagine how much Ja would get slandered losing the dunk contest to Mac.
And that's the point, though. That's the point. The fun part of sports is the best players getting together and competing at something. Actually, Sim had a previous comment that was even better. I actually don't think Ja would get slandered that much if he lost. I actually disagree. People are there to watch Ja Morant. That is the up and coming superstar. That is the next version of Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook. He is that guy. He is that fun to watch. Nobody will care if he loses. And I do think, and you and I talked about this, part of it is I think NBA players it's cool to not compete. It's cool to not care. And when LeBron James 10 plus years ago said, I'm not going to go join the dunk contest, even though everybody knew he's the greatest athlete in the world, that's, I think, when it became clear. That's the face of the NBA. If that's what he's doing, then why should anybody else give a shit? Why? Because he's the guy. He controls pretty much everything when it happens. Every player looks up to him. If he joined the dunk contest, everybody else would. And again, it's still up to Ja Morant. Ja Morant can still do it. Zion Williams can, if he can ever stay healthy, can still do it.
Yeah,
but it just feels like the NBA is to the point where people. It's just cool not to care.
Just imagine if Steph Curry's like, nah, I only shoot in-game threes. I'm never going to do the 3-point contest. It would immediately just devalue the whole thing because we all know he's the best shooter. And we want to, and Steph's lost the 3-point contest multiple times.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, it's funny because, newsflash, shooting in game is not the same as shooting on a rack running around for a minute. But that's the whole fun of it. See, and also, shocker, if Steph does it more than a couple times, he's going to eventually get hotter than anyone and win, which he did.
He did. Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's like you said, the entire reason people like sports is competition. If they're not going to compete, who cares?
Yeah. It's kind of sad. I mean, it's actually not it's really sad. I think it flows through the rest of the NBA. Adam Silver at comments, he was asked specifically about the regular season and the issues with players sitting and players not even at the All-Star game. Dude, did you see just the people at the All-Star game this weekend and the people that were missing? The people that were missing would have beat the crap out of the people that played in this game. It was tough, and some of it's injury, right? But dude, you put Steph, KD, and Zion on a team. I mean, you could have had a third team out there tonight. You could have had a third team out there to play, and they probably would have won the game. So they don't have the people there, and then it's kind of in the 82-game season, this All-Star weekend feels like a reflection of that. Just nobody cares. It's kind of lacking energy. It's stale. I don't know. It's kind of sad, Sam.
Sad's a good way to put it. I don't want to be angry about it. It's just this is lame. And now we got to wait 4 days for another game, which is where the real anger comes from. It's gonna be annoying waiting, and
then the games, and then you get really annoyed watching the Warriors. It's great.
Yeah.
Games are great.
One thing I read today that did not make me angry was from friend of the show over at the Mercury News, Shayna Rubin. This was actually really enjoyable. I'm going to share it. So she interviewed David Lee about him making All-Star 10 years ago. And I urge any of you who didn't read it to read it because it was kind of like an insight into using his All-Star game 10 years ago into the building of the dynasty. And it was really fun because it feels like the Warriors have been good for so long. I sometimes forget that it's only been 10 years since Steph, quote unquote, arrived with the MSG game and 54 points and then the Denver playoff series and all that sort of stuff. And then just be we weren't that far away from them being futile. Obviously you and I remember it, but sometimes it feels like it was such a lifetime ago. And so reading this, I guess it brought back a bunch of emotions. I want to ask you, do you remember when David Lee was selected an All-Star in 2013 and how you felt at that time?
I have one specific memory, and it's so peak me being a Warriors fan the last 10 years. When he made the All-Star team, the first thing I thought about was, God, come on, man, it should have been Steph. That was the first thing. You remember?
First off, so like I remember they started 20-10 and they were hot, and it was like they're gonna get an all-star. And like in some ways, like watching the Kings this year feels like how I felt about the Warriors that season. Like, finally, we're good, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then when they made the all-star selection, just like the Kings, they take Sabonis over Fox. I was sitting there, I was going like, come on, man. David Lee's good and all, but like, let's be real about who the face of this team is. Who's the guy, the straw who stirs the drink. And actually, there's a funny David Lee quote here. I'm going to share it right now. He goes, I remember giving the interview when I made All-Star saying, I really feel bad for my teammate Steph because I feel like we both should have made it. I really hope he gets an opportunity because he's had these ankle injuries. And you now look and you think, David, you should be more worried about yourself trying to make another one. Pretty solid, because it's like, at the time, you just didn't realize how fast someone like David Lee would fall off, right? Like, and I don't mean that in a negative way or anything, but it's just like at that point, it felt like the Steph David Lee thing would go on for a few years, right? And it was really just like, like another year and a half, and then Draymond took his job, and then, he had a couple bench years, but his days of being a star were over right then.
So many things to point at in that segment there. So one is blew my mind with the Fox Sabonis comparison. Blew my mind. So right. I mean, that team is De'Aaron Fox. As much as I always say they should have kept Tyrese Halliburton, that team is De'Aaron Fox, and love Sabonis. He's a fun player, better than David Lee, but right. So that's one to that point. Number two,
nice passer. Very nice passer.
Yeah, I mean, just a better scorer, better rebounder. Yeah. But David Lee always felt like it was a little, I don't know, he felt like he was a bench guy. Also got Wally pipped by Draymond Green. Remember that he was supposed to start. He was supposed to start, got hurt, and then Steve Kerr kind of had no choice, threw Draymond Green in there. Especially after the playoff series that Draymond had guarding Blake Griffin. So going down the rabbit hole, the timeline here is pretty fun. And then the last piece is Steph. I know everybody knows about the ankle injuries, right? Because every time we see him get hurt, you get the PTSD, but
it doesn't matter how many years away from it, or anytime he like rolls his ankle. I'm back in like 2011 having a heart attack.
Oh, he's just petrified. You're absolutely petrified. I mean, I'm sure like there's, I don't know how many Hornets fans there are, but LaMelo has a lot of ankle injuries. Like, I'm sure they'll get scared too, right? So
I don't want to hear that name anymore.
It wasn't that long ago. That's the crazy part. 2013, 14, that Steph was. His career was, I wouldn't say it was like on the line, but it was close to a point where, damn, is this guy, we know he's good, but is he going to be able to make it? He went from that to an MVP in 2 years. And that's the craziest thing about this. I know we're here to talk David Lee. I know,
sure.
But that's the craziest part is that he's talking about the ankle injuries. That's what David Lee's talking about. 2 years later, the kid's the MVP. Insane.
And that's the other thing. When I think about their rise, I think about, they were so fun, but like in 2013, I just wanted to make the playoffs. I didn't think that they had any shot at building this into anything special. You know what I'm saying? Like at that stage, I was just like, oh, they're good. And Steph's going to be kind of like the face of this team going forward. And like, let's see what happens. But at no point was I thinking that they were building a dynasty.
We spent more time bitching about All-Star game appearances. Yeah. That's what we did. We spent more time doing that than anything else. We weren't worried about first round, second round. It was just like, can we get 2 All-Stars, and then can we just,
I mean, there was a really good quote in the piece that I'm referencing that I'm pulling up right now, but it's just like they're playing the Lakers in 2011 or 10 or right around that time when you got Kobe, Powell, Bynum, Odom, like that stacked Lakers team. And they're just laughing at the Warriors in pregame warmups going, we're going to have fun tonight, because they know they're going to just slap them, And it's like, and that's really what it felt like. I remember because like, like you, I went to UC, which means half the people you make friends with are from Southern California, and they're obviously all Laker fans, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all like, I'm trying to talk up like how the Warriors are going to be good and like how Steph's good, and they just look at me like I'm just like, that's cute. Yeah, we're like we're in the big leagues. You guys are like a minor league team in comparison to us, and that's like really what it felt like back then, where they were not. It's like, oh, it's cute. You got your David Lee All-Star. Those of us with real superstars like Kobe or Tim Duncan or stuff like that, like we're concerned about real basketball. And lo and behold, a decade later, the Warriors are kind of that team as other teams are trying to get their
upstart. A decade later, the Warriors have 4 more, and the Lakers have won half.
I don't think they've won a playoff game at Staples since laughing at David Lee, honestly. They won that AAU tournament in Orlando at Disney World. Really impressive, nice weekend show out, but they haven't actually played playoff basketball. So
well, they did.
I had to get that one in there.
They got their ass whooped by the Suns, you know what I mean? So they did. Hey, I gotta not to do a quick swerve here, but
go for it.
What did you think about the Nikola Jokic stuff? That's kind of
with him not getting selected till the end.
Well, and LeBron wasn't even going to pick him, and he kind of just went over and said, I'm not going to get picked last over Lauri Markkanen. I thought that was a little
petty. I mean, it like, if we're going to keep this on the Warriors topic, it does like remind me of like, remember when Steph won the 2015 MVP and they made up a fake like player's choice MVP to give James Harden? Reminds me of that sort of stuff. I mean, you know where it comes from.
I'm asking you because I was hoping you would say that. You read my mind. So it's what it felt like to me. Yeah, it was a little like that. I think it's a little worse for Jokic. I kind of feel bad for him, which is why I tweeted, like, if there's going to be a team that the Warriors don't win the championship, would like to see Denver win one. It's just a team that feels like they're maybe on the cusp and deserve to at least get to the West Finals, maybe get to the NBA Finals. I thought that thing was weird. Like, Embiid, you're not. It's like this thing with like Harden and Steph. It's like Harden, even if you are a better player than Steph, you're not that much better at that time. It's obvious now. Steph is a million times better, but at that time, you can argue that one was better than the other. And with Embiid and Jokic, it's, Embiid, you might be a better player, but it's not obvious. So I don't know why you're so aggrieved at all times. And how about winning a playoff series? What the hell are we doing here? Make fun of Jokic for not winning a playoff series, and Embiid doesn't win shit either. So I don't know. I think it's odd, Sam. I think it's odd, but yeah, it's petty stuff, I guess. I guess no matter how good you are in life at your sport, professional athletes can also be like high schoolers. So it's what I got out of that too.
That's where I got on it too. Okay. I feel like we should pivot off memory lane. Although honestly, I kind of like talking about memory lane more than reality. Look, we're about to come back to the Warriors having a tough schedule, and we know Steph will not be back at the beginning of the All-Star break. How do we know that? He told us. At some point during this week, we'll get an update, and hopefully it's just like beginning of March, but we'll see. So It's still going to be a little tough going for a little bit there. And I wanted to ask you, and actually our guy Awesome has a first comment here, so I'll read his answer first. But I want to ask you kind of what is your post All-Star game wish list for the Warriors right now?
Yep.
So let's start with Awesome, because he gave the first answer. What I want to see post break in this offseason is Golden State Warriors front office and team start functioning like a basketball operation trying to win as long as Steph is on the team. F Lamb. Anthony Lamb just constantly catching them on the side. Poor guy.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, they're 29-29. We'll see. Let me ask you, Andy, what do you want to see?
All right.
What is on your wish list for they're coming back, 24 games left. We know the deal. We know Steph's not going to play at least in the first few. We don't know how many. Hopefully it's just 2 or 3, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So I got 3. Number 1 is I think the same for both of us. It's get healthy. So it's fine. Whatever. We know that. Number 2 is what minutes can they get out of the guys at the end of the rotation? and it's going to move me to number 3 too. And specifically with guys like Kuminga, JaMychal Green, and I'm even throwing someone like Anthony Lamb in there. At this point, I don't know they're going to get a buyout guy. They didn't end up getting Kevin Love. Didn't seem like they were even interested. What minutes can they get out of those guys? Because I think that Andrew Wiggins is going to be better. I think that Jordan Poole is going to be better. I think that Klay Thompson is playing back-to-backs. He's going to be fine. Draymond and Looney have been super consistent. And then Steph GP, it's like, well, get healthy, right? So other than those guys, what type of minutes can you get? Because Kuminga's been up and down all season. JaMychal Green's been mostly bad. He's been good the last week or so, but he's been mostly bad.
First 2 months were not good.
And then you've had guys play like Moses Moody, who's been bad. You've had James Wiseman, who is not on the team anymore, who was bad for the first 10, 15 games or so. So it's been a mess. Can the Warriors piece together some minutes at the end there? And I think for the last thing that comes to me, and I actually probably should have started with this, is how is the coaching staff going to coach the rest of the season? Can they get flexible, right? Because right now it feels like they're running guys into the ground like Draymond and Looney. Can they find spot minutes for Patrick Baldwin Jr.? What creative things can they throw out there that could help this team just generally be more energetic on the court? We talked about tonight with the All-Star game, there was no energy. I think you tweeted that multiple times. No energy out there. The Warriors have had no energy this season. Steve Kerr is the master of good vibes. And so far this season, through 58 games, there have been no good vibes. What creative things can he do? Does he just throw Patrick Baldwin? Does he throw Moses? Does he switch up defenses? Does he run a different type of offense? We know he's not doing that. But what can he do out there to make things more fun and energetic for players? Because we haven't seen that. So those are the big things.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the wild card really is Kuminga. That's the one I really want to see. I feel like he has another gear, and my question is, will the coaching staff give him the space to explore it? Because if he explores it, there's going to be some bad, just it goes with it. He's young. He's going to make mistakes, and you have to be okay. At this point, I'm like, Kuminga is the only player I'm okay with making mistakes, because he's got higher upside than everyone else on the roster, and I want to see what they can get out of him. Like, the whole like benching Moses Moody because he was shooting too much type of stuff in the early season. Like, at this point, look, man, these are the guys you have. Like you said, they didn't get Kevin Love. They're not going to get a buyout guy. Let's see. Give a little space to the one guy you have who has, all-star upside. He might take him a few years to realize it, but like, he does have legitimate all-star upside.
That feels like a big thing for them in the second half. Feels like a big thing. And like, you can argue that they might have messed that up in the first half, but they've got a lot of games to fix that.
Yeah.
And if they want to even, like, dude, let's even talk past making the postseason. If they want to win a championship, I don't think they could win one this season without Kuminga playing 20-plus minutes. And not just 20-plus minutes a game, good minutes. Like, they need him to play good.
He needs to be
20 minutes a game.
Let's assume GP2 ends up healthy. Now they're running into the playoffs with 7 of the same 8 players who were like their main rotation last year. Otto Porter played 20 minutes a game in the playoffs. Do I think Kuminga can give them 20 good Otto Porter minutes? That's unfair. But can he give them 12 to 15 good playoff minutes? And then hopefully guys like Draymond and Wiggins and Looney can do a little more to pick up the slack.
Klay was not great in past.
I mean, that maybe. So like, any way you want to slice it, he's going to have to be the guy who picks up for what Otto did. Completely different skill set, completely different stages of their career, but he's going to play the same position. He's showing more and more passing feel, and he can definitely do more things defensively than Otto does. Is he going to, pop and hit the corner three or the above the breakthrough the way Otto did? Of course not. That's not his game. But can he slash a little more aggressively and maybe get some free throws and do different things? It's possible. He definitely has the talent too. And honestly, like, that should be their number one priority. Well, number one priority is staying healthy. Number 2 is getting Kuminga to realize that role as one of those top 8 guys in the playoffs.
It's not. There's no magic sauce. I mean, there's nothing the Warriors I think can throw out there in the last. And I think they probably know the same thing. There's no. It's probably why they're not going to get a buyout guy. They're probably sitting there like, dude, there's no magic thing that's going to solve what's been ailing us. It's that Jordan Poole has to play better point of attack defense, right? It's that guys have to have better shot selection. Klay Thompson, better shot selection. Andrew Wiggins, you got to be more aggressive or just get more healthy. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Steph Curry, he's dude's been out half the season. So it's just like some of the stuff. We spent a long time talking about this on the last show. I thought it was a great show just talking about what went wrong this season. There's no magic bullet, man. There's no magic bullet, and Warriors are running out of time. So what can these guys do to play? That's why I didn't even bother to put, Poole playing better, Klay playing better. It's like those are just things that they're going to have to do. Because let me tell you something. Like no matter what the coaches do or what they can do with giving Kuminga minutes or Lamb playing better, that shit doesn't matter. Not until these guys play better. 1 to 7, I guess. Like who's the guy? He keeps saying somebody. I feel like every day somebody tweets on the timeline, the Warriors starting 5 has the best net rating in the NBA. Like every day somebody throws that out there. And I'm just like, well, those guys don't play together. They don't play because those guys are always hurt. So,
and it should make you like cautiously optimistic if they get healthy, that they're more dangerous than their record. But at the same time, they're not going to get through the playoffs with those guys playing 48 minutes a game. So they have to figure out how to get like a 7, 8, 9-man rotation going and to get through the whole thing. And that's why, Poole's also a fair call out, but like to me, Kuminga can really be the guy. Like in some ways, I'm hoping that they give Kuminga a little more space and he can be the guy who kind of rises to the occasion the way Poole did 2 years ago post All-Star break, where he started playing a little more. And you're like, oh, they have something here. There might be a player here, and obviously Kuminga's done more, but like
it would help. It would help if they had better players around Poole, like GP2 and those guys, the vets, right? That made life easier for Poole. Hey, there's a question I want to ask before we get the goons on, because in the comments here from Loose Thoughts, you throw that up there. I like this one. So how do you solve the last 5 minutes in games when they can't score and teams are not guarding Draymond and Looney? Because this is a question a lot of people are asking. That's not the question. Is wrong. Is incorrect in my opinion. The thing that they've been doing wrong is not having Draymond and Looney on the floor at the same time. They haven't had them on the floor enough in crunch time is the problem. They've had 3 guard lineups with Steph, Klay, and Poole not playing any type of defense and taking horrible shots. That's the problem. They can't score because they take dumbass shots and then they don't play any defense on the other side of the floor. Like, think about the Boston Celtics that they lost to. Jordan Poole breakdown play, gives up a wide open Jaylen Brown 3 for no reason. Never should have been on the floor. Should have been Looney. And then you go into the Portland game, same thing. Just guys chucking up terrible shots. Just get Looney in there. Get some rebounds. Get better defense. In my opinion, there's not enough Kevon Looney. That's how I answer that question, Sam.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. Also, like, defense is their bigger issue than offense at this stage. So
100%.
I'd rather ride with their better defensive lineup and figure that Steph and Klay will start hitting more shots than the other way around. So ultimately, that's where I'm at with it. All right. I want to turn. We have our first goon in here. So let's bring him up. Our guy, Luke. What's up, man?
What's going on, boys? I'm just at work. I'm fucking tired, eh? What's going on?
Hey, that's how NBA players feel in the All-Star weekend.
Mate, I totally forgot the All-Star game was on until I saw Sammy tweet something about it. I'm like, mate, the All-Star game was so shit. Like, the whole concept is just so worn out. Like, no one gives a fuck. Everyone just wants to, I just feel like the season narrative now is just tired. I'm just tired, like, feels like no one's really making a decision. Like, I'm back to what you said just before, Andy, about no buyout guys. I mean, really? Like, can we really not go with this roster now with JaMychal Green, like, having a wrist problem now? Now Giannis has got a wrist problem. Like, I don't even know if you can rely on JaMychal Green now. Like, fuck, like, we keep saying it every week. Like, what if something happens to Looney? Like,
not every day everyone ties a wrist issue with Giannis to a wrist issue with JaMychal Green, but I appreciate that.
Well, mate, he's pretty fucking important to us now, is he not, Sammy?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Actually, I think you bring up an interesting point. So the Warriors obviously did not get Kevin Love, and we buried that. And the only thing we really know, and I kind of alluded to this a little bit, but like he wanted a defined role. Miami told him 20 minutes, yours every game. You can go out there, not guard anyone. We're still going to play you. You know, now we'll see if they actually do it because it's Miami, but they gave him the space to be that guy. Sounds like if you know anything about the Warriors, Steve Kerr's not the guy to go and tell people like, yeah, I'll give you whatever. He'll be like, I'll give you a shot, but maybe I'll play you, maybe I won't type of guy. Right. Yeah. And so they didn't get him. And I think they probably feel like there's not a huge gap between him and what they're getting out of JaMychal right now. And you know, that's kind of like, I don't know, Andy, what are your thoughts on that one right now?
I was all in on the Kevin Love move just because to me they need smarter basketball players, right? They have so many guys on the team even though Kevin Love can't move, it's just at least he'll know where to be. It reminds me of Nemanja Bjelica. Like the guy couldn't really move. Same with Otto Porter. He wasn't really a great lateral guy, but the dude's just been in the league for 15 years, man, or whatever. And when you're in the league that long, you're gonna figure out how to play defense. And I think like the same is gonna go for Kuminga, same is gonna go for Moody, same is gonna go for Wiseman. Like he's gonna figure out how to play defense 5 years from now. But and you look at someone like Kevin Love, that's just gonna happen. Now I think sometimes JaMychal Green hasn't really figured out how to play defense for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm with you though. It does feel like even if Kevin Love was on the team, I don't know if Steve Kerr would have played him 15, 20 minutes a game every game. Because
it's not last year's team. I don't know if he'd throw Bjelica in there with this year's team. No. Whereas it's like we can't stop anyone at the point of attack. We're fouling nonstop. You want me to throw a guy out there who's a statue on defense? Like it's kind of, I mean, like you said, it has to come from within more than it's going to come from external at this stage. Luke, let me ask you this before we get out of here. We barely. What is on your wish list? What is the one thing you want to see from the Warriors in the second half of the season?
Okay. Shall we take if I remove Steph's health, if I remove
Sure.
All right.
That goes without a given. That's a given.
Yeah. Okay. I want Wiggins back to what he was. I just want him basically after this break to whatever he has to do to come back and basically whatever he has to do in the Cayman Islands, wherever he's going, whatever he has to do, get a rub down. I don't care. Come back, rebound the ball. The other thing I want to know is you guys talking about defined roles. I don't want to see Kuminga not play a second half. That's fucking over now. You've made your decision with him. He's got to be playing. So, because like you guys said just before, if he's not playing, then what are we doing? All right, he's too important now. Like you've made him important, just like you made certain other people important that kind of backfired now. But I want a defined role for him. I want more than 20. I want 25 plus, to be honest, for him because I think he needs it. And obviously, no brainer. I want GP2 to at least play some games before the players. Cause I think we're going to fucking need him. So let's be serious. Like, I just think that these games.
He's a game-changing player if he's healthy. He was last year.
And they made that trade. They made that trade to go. We need help right now because you can't just keep going to the well like Andy said. Top 5 lineup, yeah, that's great. But guess what? There's more than 5 players to a basketball team. Like, if it was more than 5 players, if it was just 5 players, we'd win the fucking title. But there's more than to a team. You got to have, a couple of backups, a couple of guys. Like, let's just, band together a bit and show a bit of fucking urgency and go, okay, this is what your role is. This is what your role is. You know what I mean? Like, just if this is the last dance and this is the last hurrah, which I don't think it is, treat it like it. Show a bit of desperation. Show like, okay, cool. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Like, fucking mean it. You know what I mean? I want to throw it back on you guys, though, but be completely honest. If I said to you right now, gun to your head, Joker style, Dark Knight, you got 2 fucking cruisers, right? You got 1 bomb on either. Which cruise are you going to take? Warriors win the title or Warriors go out in the second round?
Wow. There's no we can't pick and we still live, right?
No, you got to pick a cruise, mate. You got to blow up. You got to blow up.
Second round's tricky because if you were going to say the play-in, I think they're safely going to get out of the play-in, and
Yep.
they will at least win their first round series.
I agree. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt too. That's what I'm saying. What are you going to pick right now?
But Mike, you've hit on my concern. My concern is I don't know that I trust the roster to last for 2 months of playoff series, which is a different thing than I don't trust them to win a game. I trust them to beat anyone in a game 7, in a hypothetical game 7's tomorrow. I don't trust them to win for 2.5 months without someone getting hurt and it's worn down and all that sort of stuff.
Give me the cruise. Come on. Give me the boat. Give me the boat, boys. Come on. Pick one.
The playoffs start on Thursday, which is the problem for them. And
yeah, that's right.
Look, man, I'm gonna ride with the team to win the championship, right? I'm always gonna go down that route. And we've seen it too many times. And the craziest part is we've never seen this team. My biggest fear is that they get to the play-in game. I think even if they're the 6th seed, they're fine. They can get through this as many series as they could. They've just never lost in the West. They've never lost. They have not one time have ever lost in the Western Conference. But if you're talking about
they either break down before it happens or they go the whole way through
that's
it.
Right.
Well, let's say they end up a 9 seed. Now they've got to play 2 back-to-back game 7s, and then they've got to go and travel to Denver or whatever.
So
and I think that's
I think you hit it, Luke. I'm gonna have to go with them to win the finals because if they're into the second, if they get into the second round, they're winning it all.
A bit of positivity. That's just what I need here. It's dark and gloomy. I'm pissed off. I'm fucking tired. That's what I want. So
appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, Luke.
Oh, that's what I needed there. I
like that question. It kind of makes us choose them to win the championship.
It's a rough one.
I'm with that.
By the way, if you want to call in, links in the chat. You can come through.
Oh, there you go.
Let's see who else wants to come up. Let's see what is up. All right, we got Sim put a comment in the chat here. Wish list: win Thursday, play JK consistently, get fully healthy as high as the 5 seed. I like that. Those are 3 relatively attainable goals.
The third one is the key one. I hadn't thought about that at all. 5 seed, 6 seed, doesn't matter. What the third one should be is get to the play-in game, right? Like that.
Get out of the play.
Sorry, Jesus. Get out of the play-in game. That's what the Warriors should be going all out to do. I just because that's like I just said, man. You play game 7s all day long, and Thursday now feels like a must win, and every single game after feels like a must win. That's what the Warriors are going to be playing. But they do get a nice boost when Steph comes back. Looks like you're saying hopefully in early March. So that'll be a nice boost for this team. They got to survive to that. How many times this season have we said, they got to survive 5 more games without Steph. They got to survive 5 more games without Steph. It's a rough. The All-Star game needed Steph Curry tonight. I'm going to say that.
It did.
It was just the energy.
Raphael, the worst case scenario to be go against Memphis in the first round after get out of the play-in. I don't think Memphis is a worst case. Put me on record. The only way they lose to Memphis in a 7-game series is if an injury happens. That team doesn't scare me. The longer a series goes on, the more IQ matters. You don't want game 5 Looney. You do not want game 5 Looney. You don't want game 5 Draymond. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll keep it going like that. So I think the longer series goes on, the more it benefits the Warriors. All right, we got Tashion coming through. What's up, my man?
Sir.
Can you hear us?
Hey, how's it go? Yeah, I can hear you guys. So I am not going to talk about whatever Adam Silver thought was a good product. That's my first question is, what has Adam Silver done in a positive stance outside of I am banning quote unquote this bozo for life? Like that's my first question. But my second question is probably all on the more positive side is like, what has been your favorite All-Star memory? Like I see like the 93 All-Star game popped around the timeline because a bunch of people are seeing like a bunch of All-Stars just don't care right anymore. It's probably due to like some of these people whether it's Jokic, Embiid, Luca, to a certain extent, they don't have that kind of showmanship because the games don't have stakes. And that's kind of the situation that Adam Silver is in right now because the game doesn't have stakes. And so we got even sometimes LeBron who just throws like shots at the side of the backboard like he's PG. Like, what the hell? But I kind of want to like seeing like the 93 All-Star game, seeing like some of the All-Star games in my childhood where it was like AI going at it against Kobe Bryant in the All-Star games. It's like what have been the best memories from the All-Star weekend that you guys remember? Other than like, other like Vince Carter going like it's over like the first dunk. But
First off, this is a great call. I appreciate it. So like,
all right, take it easy.
Appreciate you, bro. Vince Carter's dunk contest at Oracle, and I think it was still Oakland Arena at that point, was literally the only cool thing that happened there for like 15 years. It was like, they made the playoffs in like 94. They suck. Vince Carter has the coolest dunk contest ever. They suck. And then We Believe happens. Like literally for about 15 years there, that's about all you had, in my mind, coolest All-Star moments, like, okay, so the first time they did the Elon ending a couple years ago, that was legitimately cool, right?
Good.
That was just because like they needed something to shake it up a little bit. And then I want to say was it 2012? Was that the last time it felt like they played a really competitive game? The one with trying to run through it. It was just where the West came from behind with Kobe, Chris Paul, and a young KD and those guys to pull out the win. I want to say that's the last time I remember it being like kind of like, oh, what's going on here? Like, oh, this is a competitive game. Yeah.
Okay, I'm expanding it to All-Star Weekend. I don't remember that 2012 one because I feel like All-Star games are just hard to remember. So I'm going moments. Off the top of my head, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, easy. One of the greatest dunk contests I've ever seen. Jason Richardson, dunk contest as a Warriors fan growing up, amazing because you're like, holy shit, it's a Warrior. Warriors suck. How did this guy get up there?
We have a cool player.
cool. Like, well, holy and he was one of the best, man. And
yes,
got traded for Brandon Wright, which is classic Warriors. Ended up being nothing.
In the words of Joe Lacob, as you know, we love Wingspan.
Brandon Wright or James Wiseman, who's better? I like the. I couldn't help it.
Lefties with length.
That's about it. Kobe and LeBron. Do you remember the Kobe and LeBron kind of just the image of them? I know Drake was in the image, but like that was one of the coolest moments. Just like it never felt like Kobe and LeBron.
Yeah, it was 2016. Yeah, because it was his last year. Yeah.
And then the last one
shout out Drake for photobombing.
I know, but it was a sick jacket that he had. There are some old ones that I'm gonna have to like really, really think about, but just off the top, the last one for me is Steph getting double teamed by KD and LeBron at the end of the game. So remember Team Stephen.
Oh, the celebration after they shut down Steph, like LeBron was ready to fucking thank Cleveland a second time, tears in his eyes. We did it. We stopped him.
Oh, that was exactly what it felt. I was like, damn, dude, like, why are you guys celebrating? But you know what? To tie it all back to what we saw tonight, I wish we had that tonight. I wish we had that. I wish somebody was going out there to try to kill it. And I know that game wasn't great. Like the 3/4 of that game was trash. But those last 8 minutes of that game were great. And Steph ended up losing. But you saw LeBron and KD team up. And by the way, that's what it takes to beat Steph. To try to take down Steph. And that's what it took. And I that's what basketball's about. It's what sports was about. That was cool. That was good. We don't get enough of that. I wish we did.
That's true. I've noticed no one in the chat has mentioned All-Star Weekend needs Anthony Lamb. But I'm just throwing it out in the universe. Anyway, we got a comment from
3-point shooting contest, Anthony Lamb.
Yeah, AENUS going, all right, things he hopes for the Warriors in the second half. Better coaching. Sure. Better defense. Yes. Yeah, JK playing 25 minutes every game. Wave Lamb and Ty Jerome. I'm not gonna go there. Honestly, I think Ty's actually pretty damn good.
Yo, he
but
better next season, Ty Jerome.
let's talk Kuminga for a second, and we got another caller to get up here.
All right.
I do feel like the more I think about this, the more I'm like, Kuminga is going to be such a swing player for this team the rest of the way. And he really does need to be given the space to establish himself as like, look, he can't shoot it like Wiggins, but he can be kind of a two-way player and affect the game affect the game with his defense, affect the game with his slashing, and just provide a much-needed athletic punch to this team. And we know he can play in the Warriors system, and he's got enough IQ to figure it out. Like he's so I do think a lot of the second half, like I'm waiting for what we need is Fitz to be like,
no God,
he's like a deadline acquisition, like that sort of like corny joke. I need him to play at that level.
On a broader picture, on a broader scale, he's the swing piece for this team for the next 5 seasons.
He is, yeah.
After the season,
I mean, the Wiseman thing, they pulled the plug. It obviously didn't work. That's their guy. Where it's like he's either going to be the next guy or he's the guy who helps you get the next guy, right?
Right, because he's going to be on the team. He's not going anywhere. He's untradeable. They're not moving him. He's not going for OG Anunoby even in the offseason. But the thing is, it's how good can he get, though? Is he just going to be a guy that can't really ball handle and like shots on and off, and like he just plays on ball defense and it's not really smart off ball, which is kind of just who he is right now? Is he just going to be that guy stuck at that level for the next 5 years? I don't think so. But how good is he going to? How much better is it going to be, though? Because what if he just ends up as OG Anunoby and in 3-4 seasons? That's not that great. Like that's cool. It's a cool player, but it's not.
Well, in a dream world, you'd want him to get to OG level now because that's like literally the piece you need. But I hear what you're saying.
Because 3 years from now, Steph doesn't need an OG. Steph needs a right. Like Steph will need a better player, and you would hope that like maybe he's Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
that's the level he.
You're not looking for a poor man's Wiggins. You're looking for a guy who can give you 25. But no, it's a fair point. All right, we got another caller here. John, come up, man.
Hey, thank you for putting me up on stream. I'm actually a bit new to this whole sports thing.
Ooh. Cool. What you got? Got any takes?
Yeah. Not really. I'm still like too new to this whole thing.
Where you from? What's your first sport that you did you watch soccer or football or just?
Basically, just to now I see what you're asking. All right, so basically, what happened is like I recently got back from like a trip. Basically, I was like on like a trip for like 4 months. I was out with my mom. I went to like places like Nashville. I went to Louisville, Washington D.C. My mom also got on a plane to like London. Yeah, London and maybe even a couple of countries as well. Basically, we're both like tourists in a way. And basically, like recently, I came back. However, I couldn't get my my mom with me, so I'm just sitting here with my dad. Basically, my dad, he's a lot into sports. Like he just like watches sports, like more specifically like American football. And I actually watched the Super Bowl with him. And he actually encouraged me to like get like a bit interested into sports and whatnot.
How did you find Light Years then? Let me ask you that. How did you end up watching the Warriors and watching Sam and I? How did this happen?
Basically, outside of sports, I basically like do like this thing where I go and like utilize search terms and like keywords. So I would just go on YouTube and do like stream hopping. So I would like put in quotes StreamYard, so I can just find everything that says StreamYard. So I'm just able to find like stuff that I'm able to do and basically do a bunch of stream hopping and join a bunch of streams. And I thought, well, since I have a bit of interest in sports and I just managed to just find this stream on purpose, I just decided why not join in.
My guy,
Appreciate it,
Mr. John. Mr. John, my guy. Hey, real quick. I know we're nearing the end here. Make sure if you like the show or if you don't like the show, don't care. Subscribe. Rate 5 stars, drop a review, right? Get a comment in there, get a question in there, like Mr. John here. What a legend.
Oh, wait. Do we have Mr. Neil? What's up, Neil?
It's happening.
Awesome. What's up, man?
Well, what? Yeah. Can't
Oh,
know how
this
to
is
follow
this is like a it's like an Anchorman background here. Yeah, Ron Burgundy with some
Yeah,
rich
you got
mahogany
some
behind
that.
you.
It's my-
books
yeah,
and
my-
stuff. Are you reading? No way. No way. You're reading that. It's your
Yeah, I've
pops.
opened a book. I've opened a book now and again.
Yeah. Textbooks. Textbooks.
No, I mean, I have
Ne-
to just distract myself from the atrocity that I just watched for 2.5 hours.
You had a 4-leg parlay. Let's start with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
before we
I
do
mean,
anything
I had
else.
to. I had to. I mean, you had to make it. I had to make it interesting somehow. Like yesterday, I won some money on the 3-point contest, so put down some money. Like Luca over 20.5 points or something, and he just didn't do anything. So and then Jokic had like 6 assists, and it was like 7.5 was the over. So just not the best
Yeah.
performance, but
Neil, before we get out of here, give us your take. What is on your wish list for the Warriors these final 24 games plus All-Star break?
all right. So it's been mentioned a few times, but I think getting Kuminga more minutes, I think is important. I mean, just providing athleticism, youthful energy is big. I think like a more broad thing is like I think you guys mentioned this too. Just like let's get the 6th seed. I mean, I'm looking at the standings right now. They're a 9 right now. I know Steph isn't back yet, probably not till March, but like you're gonna go to the play-in while like the Timberwolves like make the playoffs. Like really like the Pelicans without Zion, okay, I think the Kings will slide a little bit. I think there's like I think they can easily get the 6th seed even without Steph, and their strength of schedule is like middle of the pack. So I mean, like they've been super inconsistent. Their road record sucks. Their defense is subpar, but I think that can all be corrected in these last 24 games. And like if we're the 6th seed, we got a chance. As Draymond said, it's the Warriors Invitational when they make the playoffs. You know,
I like it.
When they're all healthy, like it's not been proven yet that they can be beaten. So let's go. It's 24 games, 6th seed. They're only 2 games out of the 6th seed, something like that. They're only like 3.5 games out of the 3 seed where the Kings are, I think. So,
Yeah, they are. And then they're 3 games out of being out of the playoffs entirely.
We're gonna mention that.
Yeah, I like that. Optimism, Neil. Appreciate you, man.
That's all.
Neil, appreciate you as always.
Thank you, sir.
All right. We're gonna call it a night. We appreciate everyone who subscribes. We'll be back. We got special guests midweek. Cannot disclose right now.
See you on Wednesday.
Well,
All right, guys. Gals.